killing it at everything else in the phase 1, so.
Hold on. Up. Good boy.
You know, this is a good one because the criteria is so easy for the dog to understand. Perfect, perfect. See how he's getting a little more distracted because you're further away? Yeah, perfect. And make your arms good and big. Okay, so that was a good practice, right?
Right.
Now you know what's going to happen. So you see how when he stepped off, that leash got really slack?
Yeah.
So you got to be ready for that. Now let me show you just something. So with the slap slide pump is really simple. Slap. You're in your starting position. You're going to slap the bottom of that hand. You're going to slide out, and then you're going to be able from right here. You can just give him leash pumps like this, right?
Yeah.
So let's practice. Why don't you practice that a little bit, and that's going to help because when that leash comes slack, that's going to allow you to get it tight right away and start giving him pumps. And you don't need to go any kind of lock or anything like this. And I do it like this, but you do not have to do that. Just really.
I'm trying to figure out what I had.
Yeah. Oh, just like this. There you go. Slap, slide, pump, just like that. Yep. So that is. Think about how simple and easy that movement is. All you're doing is slapping so you can get yourself on the leash. You're going to slide out to get your tension, and then you can give some pumps just like this. No fancy finger work. Just get it out there and give him some pumps. And that, because obviously when he comes, that tension's going to get really loose. So this is going to allow us to get that really quickly. So there you are. And go ahead and do the same thing, and just be ready for him to come off, because he will come off sooner or later. And actually, why don't, before we do that, why don't you free him?
And then rerun it.
Well, why don't you free him? Let's practice. Let's clip the leash on something.
Okay.
Practice the slap slide pump, and then we can do it again with him. Okay. This is Rover, the chair dog. So there you go. Good job, buddy. So you don't even have to worry. Let's start simple. Don't worry about the walking. Just take a step forward. So the leash is loose here, right? Get yourself in your starting position. My camera too. Perfect. So you're in your starting position. So slap, go, slap, slide, and pump. There you go. Now do that 10 times. Makes sense? Feel good? Yeah, much more. Keep going. I want you to build the muscle memory for this. I want you to keep going, and I want you to practice this at home until this is automatic. You should be able to do this with your eyes closed, in the dark, with guys running around screaming all around you, right? Just like martial arts, you're going to start out slow, practice it slow until it feels good, and you can get faster. And this is also how in the, I've talked about this a little bit before, but like I said, I'm going to be repetitive. If you're ever in a situation where your dog starts going crazy, you need to get a hold of that leash. This is the same technique you're going to do to grab his leash. So that's why I say I need it to be automatic, Perfect. Perfect. Is it feeling better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So go ahead and do it a couple more times. Whenever you feel comfortable, whenever you think you got it down, we can clip Colton back up and try it again. I think he thinks because his bed at home is a chair that's almost like that. I think he thinks that's his bed, which is fine. That's part of why it's out here. And don't be afraid too, we do obviously have the 2 black platforms, so make use of that.
Try to do-
Feel free to move him from platform to platform, just to mix it up for him.
Good boy.
I'm still trying to keep yourself a little further back, yep. Perfect, now pump, pump, pump. Perfect, keep it up. So this is the first time he's broke, so he doesn't know what he's doing yet. Don't forget to give him the, when you're giving the correction, go ahead and repeat the command as well.
Okay.
Yep. You're doing good, keep it up. So this is gonna be,
Good
go boy.
Good job. Good
Okay.
boy.
Now my only critique I have for you there, everything was perfect except when you did the pumps, I saw you did try to go into the finger lock.
Yeah.
If you're good at that and that's working for you and you're comfortable doing it, that's fine. I don't care, rock and roll. But don't forget, like, it is an extra step. So if you want, you can just do those easier right under, which is what you were just practicing. So isn't it interesting how our brains work? How you just did that over and over again, and then the one time you had to do it for real, you did something different.
Yeah, yeah.
Isn't that amazing how our brains work? Like, because so this is actually a really good point that I'm going to make to you. So that's what you've been doing, that's what your default. So when we train something, and this is true for dogs as well as people, we do not rise to the occasion. We default to our training. Does that make sense? When you are in a situation where your brain is not thinking properly, it's not going to think properly, it is going to default to whatever its baseline training is. And so that's why we train, and that's why, in martial arts, they sit and punch a punching bag over and over hundreds of times because they want to default to that training.
Right.
So in the case of the slap, slide, pump, that's why we want to do it so much to make it muscle memory that you're going to automatically do it. And once again, having said that, you can do it whichever way you want. I've showed you both ways. Honestly, I always did it with the finger lock, and honestly, I think that's wrong. I think it's better to do it the other way. But if you've already learned it and that's what you've got memorized,
Yeah.
I'm leaving it up to you.
Okay.
So if it's working for you, rock and roll. But I've said my piece, and that is there. So. And then, yeah, just go ahead and start, get back into the drill here. Perfect, doing well so far. And you can have your hand, like right there on your leash hand, so you're ready to slide out. Especially starting out learning, break it up into steps, And just like a dog, when we're chaining behaviors together, we teach the last step first and work towards the first one. So practice your pump and your slide out and pump, and then at the end we'll add the slap in. And you'll already have everything else done. Move a little faster. Don't be so ginger here. Remember, for escape conditioning, part of the drill is you want the dog to break, right? Because they're not going to learn if they don't break.
Right.
Phase 1 is where you're working on doing all that stuff. Now, don't be so ginger. If he breaks, that's good. That's how he's going to learn.
Okay.
So, and in the end, remember, I want him to be able to stay on there while you're doing cartwheels in a circle around him. So don't be afraid to move. If he's not breaking, he's not learning.
Okay.
Good boy. Good job.
Good boy. Good job.
You're doing good, Maddie, but yeah, don't be afraid to pick it up a little bit. I just made that as a note on our checklist that in escape conditioning we need the dog to break in order to learn. Remember, repeat the command.
Up, up.
Good job. Good job, buddy.
Good job, Colton.
Now we could. So if you think about what's happening right now, he's not breaking like really frequently,
Yeah.
but he is actually breaking just enough to learn. If we were to go outside and do this right now, it would be too much for him. He's
Yeah.
not ready for that. So just keep that in mind and think about that when you're practicing this at home. He is learning, he is figuring this out, but you do just want to remember, and it's the same thing we were talking about with the overstimulation and the overexcitement. So he's doing really well for where he's at right now, but we're not ready to push it too much further yet. So I would say do a couple more runs of this, and then let's go back outside and practice some leash manners. We'll try phase 2 leash manners, and then we're probably getting pretty close. Colton's been working for a couple hours at this point, so he's he's going to be getting tired. I mean, we've been training hard for an hour, and then we were messing around before that. So yeah, let's do one more climb, and then we'll try some phase 2.
So can I move him to that one?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, whatever you want there.
Up, up.
And that's a good idea in this situation. That's a good idea to keep breaking it up and moving it like that. You know, at home you might not have that option, but now I know you guys have sometimes, like I think I've seen like empty pallets or almost empty pallets, like where they haul dog food out at Petco. If you're ever there and there's an empty pallet, don't be afraid to have him hop up and do a climb on it, provided it's safe. It's got to be a pallet close enough where his paws aren't going to fall through it. So.
I have him jump up on the tape.
Oh, perfect. Oh, that's
because
perfect.
you can put it up more.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Loves it.
Oh, does he jump really high on it?
He goes all the way, like it goes like up to here.
Little spring legs.
Launches it, yeah.
Yeah, so that's perfect. The grooming table is a perfect example of that. And you can even, once he's up there, you can do this on it.
Okay.
Although I would start
Up, up.
with a very low altitude.
Good boy.
Good job. I would start with a low altitude so he doesn't have to jump back up. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah,
he'll like work his way up.
Yeah, and that's fine, especially as a trick to like keep teaching him for that. But for learning the escape conditioning, it's going to be a lot. Remember, for escape conditioning, we want to make it as easy as possible to get back into position. So if the table is really high, it's going to be really easy for him to get out of position, but hard for him to get back into position. Yep.
Good boy. Good job.
Right. Yep. That was pretty good. Go ahead and free him. Let's call it a drill on this. Yeah, because he is starting to get a little tired. So let's.